What we're going to try to do today is make a faux sea urchin Christmas ornament, or any time of year ornament actually. But as you can see, they're all made out of wood, and I've used for this one, I used soft maple and walnut, and for this one, it was the only piece I had, but it is kind of a spalted. I think it is maple and walnut also. But we're going to try to make those today. And the first time I saw them made was by Alan Stratton from the soap opera As the Wood Turns. But he's been doing it for several years. And I saw him do it. So I was trying to figure out what I was going to do for a Christmas ornament last year, and saw him do this. And I thought, well, let's give it a try. So we did. And he makes it where he uses a spur drive in one side and a live center in the other side. And I did that with the spalted one, and it worked pretty good. But I figured out a better and easier way to do it with a pen mandrel. So we'll go from there, and I'll show you how I did it. Okay, well, as you can see, I've got a billet that I've already knocked the corners off of and put my tenon on so I could mount it on a chuck. So we want to cut this down, and we'll start to make a cylinder out of it. Now I'm going to take and size it, and I've got my caliper set for about 2 7/8. So we'll make some points and get it down to that point. About every inch or so. Now we'll finish cleaning it up. Now I've got it roughed in, and I'll take my negative width scraper, also some people call it skewer, and finish cleaning it up. Side down my bed ways. It's pretty good. Now I'll take a little piece of sandpaper. Doesn't have to be sanded real smooth, but I like to have it smooth enough that my pencil marks show up on it. Is it going to mark it? Okay, it's 2 7/8, so we'll mark it at 2 7/8. About 1/4 of an inch. We'll be able to get 2 of them out of this. And 7/8, 2 7/8. That means the center of that would be 1 7/16. That gives us our center line. And now I'm just going to kind of mark it. I want to cut it down in the center. I want to leave at least 3/4 of an inch in there. That defines my pieces. Now I want to take the lathe off here. I'm going to take and mark these. I want to make 8 holes around this. And this particular lathe has 24 indexes, so that works out perfect for us. So let me move this out of the way. And I'm going to use pieces of the Rick Bywater indexing system. This is something I've got left over from where I was doing the imitation basket weave, and boy, it works out great for this. Okay, there is 0. Three. Perfect. Okay, we've got it marked. We've got it turned. Let's take and put a beat in it. Take our awl. And we'll mark the center of these holes. Now from here, we're going to take it over to the drill press, and we'll drill our holes in it. We'll drill 1/4 inch holes so that it will accept the pen mandrel. Now that I've got it turned to a cylinder and I've got our hole points marked, we'll go over here at the drill press, and I always try to set it up to where I'm going to drill a 3/4 or a 1/4 inch hole in it. And you always want to make sure that your drill bit is perpendicular to your table. In other words, 90 degrees. That way it'll drill straight through the piece and we can get our pen mandrel through there, because that's the whole purpose behind what we're doing, making it easier to make the holes. So we've got our points set up, everything's set up. Let's go ahead and drill some holes and go from there. First hole, you can drill down as deep as you want, all the way as far as you can go, in fact. That's what you want to do. Next holes we'll just drill down about halfway. Try to go all the way through. With the angle of the last hole, it has a tendency to throw your bit off. So we'll just take and go halfway through and drill all the holes that way. Okay, now these holes we can drill all the way through so that there are holes like that. Everything all the way through, I'm going to take and just kind of clean out the holes, get everything out of them. And you can see the holes go all the way through. Now from here, we'll go back over to the lathe and cut our fins. Okay, now that we've got the holes drilled in it, we put it back on the lathe. And of course, I marked my number one chuck so that I could get it back in the same place. So I didn't have a bunch of wobble and have to put it back into round. But once I get it to this point, I take and put another pencil mark about halfway between the hole and the outside edge on both ends. What we're going to do is we're going to start making a ball out of it. And the ball does not have to be perfect, because when you're cutting the fins, you're reducing the size of the center, which automatically reduces the width. So it'll turn out somewhat oblong like you saw on the original. So I've got these already marked, and we'll go ahead and get started here. Once I get that, then I'm going to start rounding it out. Oh, much better. And I use my negative edge filter again, just to kind of clean it up. Okay. Oh, okay, let's see what it is. Okay, now you can see it doesn't have to be totally perfect, but it does have to be somewhat round so that it matches up. So let's take and we're going to take and drill it now. We'll drill a 3/4 inch hole down through the center and remove the ball. Turn the speed down here. Alrighty. Now we're going to take and cut the ball off. My live center in, I always bring it up, kind of catch it. Thank you. And there you have it. We've got our ball. Now we're ready to start making things out of it. Okay, now I've got my pen mandrel set up in here, and I put in my live center, but I don't want a live center. I want a mandrel saver. You can do it with the nuts and bushings that are on your mandrel, but I found doing a lot of them that it was easier to do it with a mandrel saver. So I'll take the nut off, my bushings. And as you can see, I've got some wedges on here that I made up for doing Christmas ornaments a long, long time ago. Just some hard maple that I had left over from some pins, and fits my mandrel, and that way I can take just what I feared. When you drill that center hole, sometimes it plugs up the holes. Goes on just like so. One wedge there, one wedge here. Bring up my mandrel saver. Tighten it down. Oh, I see what it is. Okay, before I start cutting, midway between the two holes, I want to make another pencil mark. Same here. Other side, silly. You don't have to make them real dark, because you're going to sand them out. Now we're going to take and start making our fins. Now you can see the pencil marks in there. I don't know if you can see it in there or not, but you can just barely make out a shadow of it. That'll be the extent of where you want to cut to. That's why I like a mandrel saver. I was trying to use the nuts and bushings. I'd have had to stop the machine and tighten it down. Now you can see how far away from the pencil marks I am. So I'll need to clean that up a little more. And we want them all the same size, all the same depth. That gives you your fins the same size. This is about 2 1/4. So I'll cut it down to that point And we'll move on to the next one. Perfect. Okay, now we want to take a little piece of sandpaper, and I like the strip paper myself, but it's whatever you've got on hand. Just kind of knock down any tool marks and stuff in it. Doesn't have to be perfect. I see Urchin wasn't perfect, so that's all you're after. All right, we're ready to move on to the next one. Take this off. Pull this out. I did that one. Let's do this one. Again, don't forget to mark your center point between your holes so that you've got a point to go to. And we're ready to go again. Okay, let's see how we're doing. Yeah, needs just a little more. Should be pretty close. Yep. And you see how it's making the fins on each side. Then we'll take and sand that. It's got that. You can also see how much it is taking off of the top and bottom here and here. Now we've got the fins left, so you want to take the fin that's finished, sand the pencil mark out of it. And I'm not real fond of real sharp edges, so I just kind of knock down the edge a little bit. Believe me, it's a whole lot easier to do it now than it is after it's off the lathe. I'll do it just a little bit, just one fin at a time. Keep working my way through. Now we're ready for the next one. Now you see why it doesn't have to be totally exact as far as the ball is concerned. Got to have it close, but it doesn't have to be exact. All right. From here, we'll take and from here we can take it over to the drill press, and we're going to take these 1/4-inch holes. We're going to increase the size of them to 1/2-inch holes. Now that we've got the fins turned on it, got these 1/4-inch holes left in it, we want to increase the size of the 1/4-inch holes out to 1/2-inch. So we're going to do that here on the drill press again. And again, I'm using my platform. So let's get them drilled out, get it ready to hollow out. Try to get it fairly close to the center, but as you can tell, nothing in nature is perfectly aligned or anything, so once you got it fairly close, and it looks good, that's the main thing. And voila, there you have the holes. Now we're ready to go back to the lathe and hollow it out. Now that we've got our 1/2-inch holes, you can see we've got them drilled in here. We want to take and kind of hollow this out just a little bit, mostly to clean it up, because I don't know if you can see it in there, but the center
camera, the overhead camera, move a little bit there. There you go.
You see it's kind of ragged in there, so we just want to kind of clean that up, and we'll hollow it out a little bit, just to take away a little bit of the weight. I use my small set of cold jaws And when I bought my cold gels, I bought the large set, and I also bought these long pins due to the fact that I was doing some bowls that were kind of uneven at the top, and sometimes it was quite a ways before I could get them caught. So I want to take and put it in here. I just used 4 of them because I've got 8 sides, and 4 works out perfect. So I put this in here. Then I'll take my live center. Like so. I'll move it and I use it to center up with. Doesn't have to be super tight. You just want it tight enough to keep it from rolling while you're cutting it. Back this away. See how we're setting for. Yeah, it's not too bad. I can live with that. Just a little more back. Doesn't take much. Still go out a little more there. And good there. Needs a little more out of the bottom. Okie doke. Not about as far as I want to be. Still could use a little more out of the bottom. Much better. Okay, from here we're ready to make the finials. I'm going to take this out so you can get a look at it. Now you can see it. Looks better in there. It's real lightweight. So we're ready for the finials now. Okay, now we're going to take this piece of walnut and we're going to take and make our finials out of it. Okay, we've got 3/4 hole in the main body, so I'm going to take and cut a 3/4 here. And I went down to Harbor Freight and bought some cheap wrenches so that I could take and sharpen one side to use it for cutting things like this. As you can see, it works really well. Make sure it fits the way I want it to. Yep. I usually try to cut 2 little balls. close, just get it lightly with sandpaper. So he's trying to do it freehand. Here's the top. And I'll take and drill a small hole in the very top and put a lag eye in it, just a real small lag eye that will be used to hold it. Now we'll cut the bottom one. Okay, I'm going to take and make this one, make the lower one. Then I take and cut my bottom. Make sure it fits the way I want it to. Perfect. And if any of those, of course, are personal preference, this year I decided to make them with the short one on top, of course, for where you hang it from. But then the bottom one, I tried to make extra long and somewhat thin. You can't make them too thin because when people store them, they get torn up. So coming off the bottom. Okay, from here I'm going to use a negative rate striper. Kind of clean it up and straighten it up. I'll clean this up and then we'll sand it a little bit. I will take and cut it off. So now we can slide it together. I'll put a coat of lacquer on it and we will call it good.
Do you glue the finials in place, or do you thread those and then put it?
I glue them. Doesn't take much glue, just a little drop. But that's how I make it. Hope everybody enjoyed it. If you got any questions, please feel free to ask.